Okay, I really got to finish this video because this is just dragging on so fucking long. We need to get on to bigger and better things, but before I get started, I was thinking about what I was saying about the Islamic religion, Muslim culture, or the culture of people like that, because these guys were getting onto their racist high horse, and I think it's about to continue a little bit more. The thing is, there should be a freedom of expression, freedom of speech, or whatever in Australia. You should be allowed to come in here and practice your religion and be what you want to do. Have your own cultural ways, so long as it comports with the laws on the books, and that's basically how democracies work, right? The majority of us have agreed that these things are good, and there's a certain list of things that are bad, and if you do those bad things, there's repercussions. That's how law and order works in a Western democracy, right? That's not unusual. Fundamental to a Western democracy is the rule of law, where no one sits above the law. So I don't care if you've got a cultural reason for doing it. Over here, we've decided that there are certain things you can and can't do, right? So long as you're willing to accept those limitations, fuck it, come over here, like pray on the street, whatever, who cares? These guys were I think I know what these guys were talking about, the incident where they were saying, oh, they were, praying, a whole group of them praying on the street. Like, that was at a protest, I believe they're talking about, that one in Sydney. Oh, this, and they're calling it a domination tactic, and it's just fucking gross. Like, how, like, people praying on the street is a domination tactic. It's so stupid. Actually so stupid. But yes, and I would still defend my comment that it's dog shit religion, dog shit culture, because if you ask a woman, a gay person, or a trans person, or a disabled person even for that matter, and ask them how vulnerable people in society, would you rather live in a Western style democracy, or would you rather live in an Muslim Islamic style religious democracy, religio democracy, or whatever it's called? I'm not even talking Sharia, right? That's a whole Sharia. I'm not even talking Sharia. That's like the next level. I just mean a majority Muslim country that has a lot of Islamic influence, blah 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 blah. Think the Middle East, think Indonesia, right? They're just worse for more people, and it's just is what it is. And we get a lot of immigrants coming from those countries, actually looking for a change, a better life, different circumstances, different culture, different blah blah blah, but still want to be able to practice their religion and bring a bunch of their cultural norms across. It's fine, right? So anyway, enough ramble. Let's kick it off into second gear and listen to our racist friends bash Muslims a little bit more.
Much like I can't say that about a lot of people.
That's right.
But
you can't.
They seem to have, and this is an outrageous thing to say, more per capita than any other religion of violent people.
Now, hang on. This is, I think we looked this up last time. Look at that smug face. We looked this up last time, and there is no way to make a claim about the religion of a person who's been arrested, because it is not something that is tracked by the Australian police forces anywhere. Now, that's probably a good thing because we don't want people being targeted based on religion, right? That's ridiculous. I think they were saying that something about 9% of prisoners, now that includes people in jail or on remand, etc. So they haven't yet been prosecuted and found guilty. About 9, so that's everyone. So guilty, people waiting in remand, etc. 9% identify as Muslim versus I think it was like 2 to 3% of the population. So, I mean, does that tell us something? The criminologists weigh in and say, no, that can't tell us anything. It's not, it doesn't give us any valuable information. Okay, well, until I see some actual experts in the field start to weigh in on it, I'm going to side with the learned experts over our friends here who poo-poo scientific research and universities.
Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I would agree with you on that
I
one.
don't think many people could argue against that.
No.
And that's not to say that I
maybe
see
I'll
a
turn
Muslim
this down
person
a
and I
little
think they're a bad
bit.
person. I don't feel like that. I like to get to know every person individually before I
Well,
say.
they're not. That fellow, I can't, Alamed, that fellow who actually, stopped that gun.
Ahmed, I think that was his name.
Yeah, and he's Muslim.
He saw
himself.
something going on and he put his body
Correct.
on the line for his
So
people.
you do have ones out
Of
there
course.
that are, good people.
One of the good ones, as they say. One of the good ones. Holy shit. The classic one of the good ones. Tactic being deployed to show how not racist they are. That's fantastic. I love it. Perfect deployment of one of the good ones. Can't go wrong there. One of the good ones. One of the good ones.
People, but it's such a an unsure world out
Unsure.
there. I've got to a stage that I just don't trust many people. I don't trust the way the world's gone and the belief in people. How do I know they're telling me the truth? Because under the Islamic religion, they can actually lie to you, befriend you, do whatever they need to do to ingratiate themselves into the country. And then, if you've got issues or jihad was called, and that's what I was saying, jihad was called, then you've got real problems. You don't know where they stand. This one woman was telling me, she said, I had a real close Muslim friend. And I said to her, just answer me something. If I was out there with another woman and we were drowning and the other woman was Muslim and I'm not, who would you save? She said, of course, the Muslim woman. But you don't know her.
Yeah, wow.
And I'm your best friend.
Yeah.
That's the way they think.
Yeah.
You have to understand the mindset of how deep ingrained, if they're really a true believer of the Quran and of Muhammad and all the rest of it, that's their belief.
Have you spoken to many Muslim people about?
Yeah, but that's why that's why all religions are retarded and dumb and stupid, because it causes people to put a metaphysical weight onto their decisions instead of a moral. Like they're using the religion to say that they're making a moral decision, but it's actually this imaginary, I guess I'd call it metaphysical. It's this imaginary concept that allows them to weight the scales in different directions, or I guess forces them to weight the moral scales in different directions in ways that they might not normally, right? Christ, what am I doing here? I don't know, man. Cameras are hard. Cameras are hard. That's a bit better, right? I just wish, I don't know. My setup is so janky. Oof. So, and this kind of just sounds like a bullshit story. Like, this is not, like, no one, she doesn't have a Muslim friend. It's just dumb. Like, no one believes this, right? No one believes this.
What, you disagree with their faith? Or what about their faith you disagree with?
No, I haven't. I've read a lot.
Holy shit. So a challenge. A challenge. Have you actually spoken to a Muslim person? And then a genuine, honest answer, no, I haven't. And then she's going to say, I've read a lot of Facebook articles and X posts. I've read a lot on Twitter.
What about their faith you disagree with?
No, I haven't. I've read a lot. I've tried to gain knowledge and experience from it. And when I've spoken, read initially a lot of information because I've been speaking about this, or even my first main speech to the Senate in 2016, where I spoke about Islam. A lot of things I said there has been proven to come right too. But to read the book on Ayan Hussein Ali was very much an eye-opener. And I can't think of the other woman. She moved from Egypt and she went to America. She said, I thought I was getting away from all this, but you can see it slowly encroaching in America, what's happening there, the change. She said, I wish people in the Western world would actually wake up and see what is actually happening. She said,
that's funny though, like it's in a way she's hit on something which is correct, but she doesn't know that she's correct. And she wouldn't understand why she's correct. She's just, this is like one of those clock wrong, a stopped clock being right twice a day kind of instances, where there's the classic meme where you can show here we go, you can show the guns and the Bible, right? There's people love their guns and Bibles in America, right? Obama, famous for being, getting in trouble, right, for stating the fucking obvious. And there are, it's religious zealotism combined with nationalism and, well, I guess this, what do you call it, militia doctrine, militia style stuff. Quran, anyway. And then it's like, they will, there's the meme where they compare Muslim Quran and gun side by side with American gun and Bible, and it's like, these pictures are the same. They're the same picture. Like, yes, it's happening in America, but it's only because they're doing it to themselves, and they're not embracing Islam, that's for sure. They're just doing ultra religiosity, ultra Catholicism. So she's kind of right in a weird way, but she's too dumb to realize how, I suspect.
To a point that you won't be able to change it. And that's why they use the wording Islamophobia. Islamophobia. That's a way of counteracting, pushing back, so that, people and I won't discuss it or say anything about it because they're going to call us.
It's the same as sexist. It's the same as homophobic. It's all of it. It's the defence. It's the weak defence too.
So it's using the word to actually push back,
okay,
so that you won't, you'll feel embarrassed and shut down. You won't discuss this.
Because we should question religion. We should.
I mean, it's funny. It's like all these words that people use to describe me, my belief system, and my actions. They're just, it's just weak words, just weak words from weak people. It's not as though it's just words that provide categorization, that accurately describe your belief system, the things you say, the way you behave. Nope. It's not just an accurate usage of the words. It's that they're trying to attack you, my friend. Oh yes, so attacked. You're so attacked, instead of just described.
Question everything that is shown in front of us. That's how we become a intelligent society. When it has an impact
on your country, I'm sorry, it's an ideology that is, on a lot of it's based on terrorism, incompatible with their culture and way of life. and wake up Australia, because
I don't know. Now, when you say Islam is incompatible with Australia and its way of life, there will be some people who are 100%, right? But I guarantee there will be a reformed version of Islam that is very, very compatible. It's just, there's a way of thinking about the world which treats individuals as special, unique, and you have to give them freedom to be themselves, etc., etc. Treat them with respect, treat others in a way that you would like to be treated, and then out of that flows the, well, this is kind of a good way to set things up, etc. So we'll see how it goes. I have hope. I have hope for the Islamists still.
it's happening in your backyard. It's happening in your suburb. And you have to understand the impact it's going to have. Go and have a look at what happened in Lebanon, Egypt, Tunisia, these other countries, Afghan, with the Taliban there, Iran with the regime over there. People have to really start to wake up and understand what's happening. It's happening in Canada. Go and ask Sweden now. Where are they with all this? France, Germany.
The UK, yeah, absolutely.
UK?
It's confronting to see what's happening over there.
Yep.
What would you do with the immigration numbers coming into Australia?
Hang on. I just wonder if we've got more Muslims in the UK per capita, percentage-wise. Okay, so Muslims make up roughly 6% of the UK's total population. So 4 million people. In Greater London, they account for 15% of the population. Okay. Righto. Now, percentage Muslims, Australia. Are we gonna be double? Let's find out. Okay, 3.2%. So about half of what they've got in the UK. So, how is, I was going to say, how can 3.2% of the population be significantly impactful on a democratic society where you have to vote your representatives in, and they're the ones that actually change the laws, etc. What is this fear that we're going to get overrun by Muslims at fucking 3%? I was going to say that, but then I remembered that the government just gave the Jewish community $600 million, and they're only 0.3%. So maybe these guys you just need to put another zero on that, and they need $3 billion. And then we all, it all makes sense. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't see it. 3.2% of the population, 3% of I just don't see it. Even 6% of a population. Are they really changing things at 6%? Meanwhile, born in India make up approximately 5.2%. Okay. So you could argue that we're becoming more Indian than Australian, but even then, 5.2%. Really? It's 10.7% of Australia's overseas born population. That doesn't sound right to me. I thought I saw in OECD that it was more like 30%. Anyway, I can't. it's absolutely fear-mongering. Like, I would like them to explain to me how 3% of the population is putting us in severe danger of losing our democratic society.
Australia, because I've argued that there's too many people, all different people, white people from England, America coming. There's too many people, and people who are born in this country can't buy a house. Everything's too expensive. We can't look after our own. We're not hitting the numbers that we need to be building new homes.
So this guy's like an actual, like a real nativist, right? Now when he's saying too many people of all colours, etc., saying there's too many English people, American people, do I believe that when he says it, or is it a smoke screen? I'm not sure. I feel like this guy might be a true nativist, and I feel like he might believe it. I feel like he's still probably a race realist. Deep down, he would be. I get that feeling, but I don't know. I haven't seen enough of his stuff yet. But whatever. I got to finish this video, man. I got to get this out of the way so we can actually start reading real stuff and learning real stuff.
To put these people in. And people argue with that, saying, no, that's not the reason.
Oh, what do they think the reason is then?
They think foreign ownership, they think landlords. There's a lot of very left-leaning people that say no more landlords, and as someone who I own a house or two,
if you don't have landlords, then where are you going to get the house to rent? Because not everyone can afford to buy a house. Not everyone wants to own their own property, their own house, so they must rent. And especially if they're transient and if they're moving around, why put your roots down in a place that you may not be staying there? So you need to rent. What a stupid comment to make, really. They haven't given it much thought.
I think you'd be surprised at how many people think like that.
Oh my God.
It's confronting. We'll go.
So obviously Isaac Butterfield just admitting he owns a few houses, and yet also saying housing is too expensive for people to buy. But don't worry, I own a couple, right? It's just all these other foreigners coming in buying up all the housing. That's the issue. It's not me. It's not me owning a few houses. Now, actually, I'm actually not against landlords at all. I think there is a necessary level of stock required of rental properties for sure. But there's definitely a way. You shouldn't. All this the negative gearing and the shitty capital gains tax system, like the government did have to fix it, and there's probably even more we can do there. You can't incentivize, like if you it's not even about like you can't, but if the government incentivizes through tax breaks the use of property and housing as an investment vehicle and makes it a better choice over stocks or starting a business, what the fuck do we think was going to happen, right? Like the price of housing has gone through the roof. So this is kind of a bullshit opinion of like, oh, it's all the foreigners owning all the houses. It's not me as a landlord contributing to the housing issue because I can get I'm technically paying less interest on my mortgage because it's tax deductible and blah 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 blah. So yeah.
Go back to Melbourne.
Okay. Well, I said.
Yeah, but landlords are still necessary, right? We still need you still need capital owners that are willing to rent out their houses, rent out their apartments for, obviously, as she's identified, you're going to have students that need to share house, there's transient communities, there's people who can't afford a mortgage, etc., etc., etc. Like, that's life. This is life.
These people, all right. If you don't think immigration is the problem, you don't think that too many people in the country, well, these people, well, how about you put however many bedrooms in your house, 2 or 3, that would say you'd have, 5, 6 people living in your house? How about we invite 20 or 40 people living in your house?
Well, they're all the
What's the
people that
difference?
live in the most expensive suburbs that have these opinions
What's
too.
the difference?
Yeah.
Let's invite more people in your house. Do you think your house is going to be overrun? Do you think you're going to have a decent standard of living in your own home? Why is your own home any different to the country? So that's what I say.
I mean, he's a landlord. Why doesn't he just rent out his house to 20 people? Or his multiple homes? Just rent your multiple homes out to 20 people per home. Fuck it. Why not?
There's obviously a lot of room in Australia, but no one lives there. No one lives in these.
Most of the country is barren. Okay,
Yeah,
so
100%. Just fly over it. Fly to Western Australia once in your life. You'll go.
We don't have the
Where is
we
everyone?
don't have the infrastructure. What a stupid thing to say. Again, most people live down the coastal fringes of the country because that's where it's habitable. If we had some vision for the country and built the dams, the water resources, nothing will happen without water. And we haven't built the resources to provide that for us. We can't even, get our resources to give us the prosperity to actually for national security. So these people, it is a combination. Your high immigration. So we had the highest ever on record, we had people coming in 1,800 a day. Just under 500,000 for the year, net migration coming to the country. Then on top of that, it is your foreign ownership. We've allowed people to come in here from other countries and buying up housing, and huge numbers that are foreign-owned housing in Australia, which I'd put a stop to. Even your ownership.
Huge numbers of foreign-owned housing in Australia. Australia. Foreign buyers own about 2% of Australia's total housing stock, representing roughly 40 to 45,000 residential properties out of nearly 11 million dwellings nationwide. In recent years, foreign buyers accounted for only 0.5 to 0.8% of total annual residential property acquisitions. Now, this is, I don't believe she's using the word foreign-owned properly. And here we go, what's this? Report of foreign-owned Australian assets. This includes agricultural land, businesses, commercial land, okay, residential. Of the total acquisitions by foreign persons, the proportion of established dwelling acquisitions decreased. I don't know. The number of residential properties acquired by... What is this? Data.gov. Of the total acquisitions by foreign persons, the proportion of established dwellings also Oh, I see what they're saying. Righto. So out of the 6,000 whatever properties bought, 33% of those were established dwellings. Righto. Now, when I get the feeling that when she's talking about foreigners or foreign ownership of housing, she's talking about people who are actually on permanent residency status, which is means they're on their way to their pathway to citizenship, right? If you're a permanent resident, it's probably a good time to buy a house if you can afford it, because you've got, the word permanent in your visa title, so you can put down roots, right? So that's what she's talking about when she's talking about foreign ownership. She's talking about people with permanent residency visas, not just this 2% of people who are technically still foreigners, not a permanent resident, I believe. Contrary to the popular belief that offshore buyers exclusively target high-end luxury homes, ATO data indicates that nearly 80% of foreign property purchases were priced under $1 million. Yeah, I think the last time a lot of this shit was in the news like fucking years ago. It is years ago. People have been talking about the Chinese and foreign-owned stuff for years, and I think they basically found that there was a whole bunch of Chinese people sinking cash into apartments off the plan, buying off the plan, sinking it into apartments and getting their money out of China and somewhere, a technical safe haven
of not only property, whether it's new or whether it's established housing. I wouldn't have foreign ownership, or of the land. Okay, so you can't own productive agricultural land in the hands of foreign ownership. So I'd put a stop to all that.
That sounds really dumb.
I think the layman wouldn't really care about any of that until there is a COVID-style lockdown or the world shuts down for a war, whatever reason, and these foreign owners say, well, we're just going to send our crops back to the homeland, wherever they happen to be owned from. Say it's China, say it's wherever. If they're growing crops and they say, listen, we don't want Australians to access it, we're going to send it to our people.
Yeah, you can't stop it.
That's when Australians will care. Then.
If the food's grown here by a foreign country, you cannot.
Do these idiots, do these people actually think that if we were in a food scarcity crisis, that if we were in a situation where people were starving, literally starving in the streets, a food access crisis, that the government wouldn't step in and lock down the ports or secure that food access in some way? Do they think they're going to allow a modern day potato famine? Like, just think for a second there. Like, what they believe. These people believe that the government would allow people to starve and export food offshore, and that they wouldn't actually lock it down and secure food access if it was required, right? We had a COVID. People here weren't starving. But you know what? People here were crying that they couldn't make any money. People overseas were screaming for food and goods that we could sell them at a reasonably good profit and still fucking be able to feed ourselves very comfortably. Like, this is a fantasy land that they're living in, where they don't think that the government wouldn't take drastic measures to secure food sources, right? This is insane.
Stop them from exporting back to their own country.
Yeah, and that's something that people, I think COVID opened the eyes of a lot of people to.
All right, we kind of need to speed run this. Let me dun, 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 playback speed.
Trust and distrust of government and people who happen to be in power. I think a lot of people just don't trust anyone who's in power anymore, and I think that's a net positive for a lot of reasons. I think a lot of people who would call themselves, a Liberal or a Labor person now find themselves politically homeless. They don't have anyone that they look to for leadership, and I think that's obviously it's a positive thing for you guys. I think it's a worrying thing for a lot of people too, because they feel lost, and a country that's lost, loses its way in so many different aspects.
All feels, and it's all feels. Like, there is no data, there is no assessment, there is no assessment why. It's just the people are feeling this way, and it's like, man, you think that because you're being told that. I'm happy for Albo, and I'm happy that we've got Albo as Prime Minister. He's doing a good job, man. Like, he is, like, unequivocally doing a good job. Just look at the fuel price. He is securing deals left, right, and center. This deal with India to supply uranium. It's great for the planet. It's great for us. Like, he's doing what he needs to do.
of life, where they're going, where they want to go, who's coming in, what. I feel like so many people are worried and scared, and I don't think that's the only reason that One Nation has risen in the polls. I don't think it's a fear thing. I think it's a positive thing.
I think a lot of it, they want decisions, they want a vision for the country, they want decisiveness, they want
someone to lead.
They want leadership. Correct. That's what I was about to say. Okay.
Like Albo's just not it.
No.
Like imagine him in the middle of a war, World War II. There's Churchill and Albo.
well,
there's Trump
that
and
did it
Albo
for me. That's that speech that he gave last week, the 3 minute 17-second speech to
what
the
was
nation.
that?
Yeah, no,
I tuned in. I got out of the bath. I was in the bath with my little fellow. We both got out. We're in a towel. I said, "What is this? This is a disgrace."
Why did I get out of my bath for this?
I was having a lovely bath.
The world was coming to an
soaking
end.
my feet. I was going to give him a buff and everything. Anyway.
Oh, this is from 3 months ago. So this was the I think the fuel plan that they put together or something, right? And it was like they're like, oh, everyone. I don't remember that. Everyone gave him shit, like, oh my god, it was a big nothing burger. But it's like, man, imagine if he'd just gone about his day and told you nothing, didn't tell you that he had any plan. You'd be fucking up his ass giving him shit for forever and a day. Like, it's just, how do you win with these people? Right? You just can't win.
I look at him and I go, and even with Dutton, I go, how are these two, the last election, how are these two the front runners in a country of 27, 26 million people? How are these two the only ones that we have leading major parties? It was beyond me.
Yeah. Look, it's people are looking for that decisiveness, that decision, and see that we haven't got, the country's not just up till the next election. They want long-term vision. Where's my life going to take me? Where are you going to offering my children, my future generations, will I have security? Am I going to have, looked after in my old age? This is what people want to know. Can I pay my power bill the next time around? Can I put food on the table for my children? And the government, all they've done is constant payout, all the time. I will prop you up. I've got a different attitude to it. You've got to make people resilient. You've got to make people responsible for themselves, not this, this taxpayer who's constantly, working hard, getting no relief, and feel they're getting nowhere, longer hours, harder working hours, second jobs, third jobs, just to put a roof over their head, and have this come along all the time, pinching the money out of your pocket because they can't control their spending. That's where we need to head. Governments need to pull in their head, control their spending. They have to start providing for the people out there with the incentives, where I believe that we need to then work in such a way that we give people more money in their own pockets to make them self-sufficient instead of relying on government handouts. 50% of every household out there is on some sort of government teat.
Well, the NDIS too. I think that comes into this play as well.
50% of every household out there is on some kind of government teat. I mean, yeah, everyone has access to childcare subsidies. I mean, that immediately makes it probably more than 50% of every household. And this was, and everyone was going on about the NDIS at this, I think at this time too, a bit, whenever I started this, it was a big thing, right? Like, but you know what? Albo, with a vision for the country and a vision for balancing the budget, came out and outlined how they will be reducing that spend. So I hate this. He is reacting well to a dynamic situation, and he's actually providing some decent shit. Now, the 5% deposit scheme, I think, was silly, but there's still people who talk about how that was their major leg up. But it just seemed really silly to me because it just seemed very inflationary. Keep going. We're almost there.
Correct.
And I think the NDIS, for my brother, he's severely autistic and he benefits from it greatly. It's a wonderful thing for him. But there's so many people that are just fleecing it for everything that it's worth. And I used to think that universal basic income was a really interesting concept until COVID and people started getting paid to just sit at home. And then my local coffee shop can't get workers now still because they're like, well, no one wants to work for the normal wage. And we're like, what, do you pay them more? Well, the price of coffee hasn't gone up that much. I think that people want handouts, and that's worrying. They're used to it. We can't survive on it. It's unsustainable. And you can't keep giving the handouts all the time. You've got to give people the tools to actually go out there, and you have to work, and it starts in the educational system. And, this attitude is, there's no competition in our classrooms. We even with classes, where you come in class anymore. We did, I was in a class of 54. So you never get that these days. How the hell could you have a class of 54 kids in it? But we were graded as well, where we came to class. And, I think that's a good thing because not everyone is a winner. And you have to push yourself to the next level to do better.
and to improve yourself in life. We're not doing that. Even in sporting, sometimes the kids, everyone receive the badge.
Participation trophies, this
Yeah.
type of thing. We're still reeling from that movement that allowed everyone to be included. And
See, it's not setting them up for the real
This
world.
is so
Right.
dumb.
And then
But that's
we
it.
have a real problem out here with people with depression. Then we have people on drugs. And what are we doing to stop it? We're testing the pills at these festivals. I'll come up, line up, we'll test your illegal pills and see if it's...
Like this is the free speech people. This is the free speech people. Like they have no concept of what that is supposed to embody. Like they hear the words free speech and they just think, oh wow, that means I can say what I want, even if it's a bunch of bullshit and lies. I have the freedom to say what I want. But it's really meant to encapsulate a fundamental concept and idea that the individual has a self-determination, and part of that is that I'm allowed to have my own thoughts. I'm allowed to not have my thoughts be controlled or infringed upon. I shouldn't have a government that is allowed to tell me what I'm allowed to think, and by extension, I should be able to express my beliefs. Part of that could be I have the belief that I have control over my own body, and that sort of falls into this self-determination bubble, which is if it's your body, you should be able to do as you want with your body in the privacy of your own home or whatever it is, so long as you're not hurting other people or causing damage or harm to other people. And I would say that extends to drug use and things like that. If you want to take a few drugs and whatever, your body, your choice. Like this is it's like I think most of the things that they talk about, we've been listening to them talk about, is that there is a principled stance on an issue up to the point where it benefits them, but as soon as it starts to benefit other people, then at that point, no, it's wrong, it's bad, it can't be done, right? This is just populism. It's not even populism. This is like authoritarianism, but like, I feel like it is, right? It's like, no, this is how it's meant to be done. And like she's talking about, okay, here we go. I just got to keep watching. I got to get through this. Come on.
What message are we sending to these people? Because it's illegal to have drugs, but we're going to test your pill and you can go and take it. It's just ridiculous.
I think there's such a broad conversation to be had in the circles of pharmaceuticals, because obviously there's so much money involved in pharmaceuticals and legal drugs, and there are so many people walking around stoned out of their minds on legal drugs, and as well as illegal drugs. A lot of these people can't
work in the mines, and these are the ones that are drug tested because they are on drugs.
Yeah.
And that's why they can't get jobs.
Yeah.
And that's why you can't drug test. They can't get these jobs. Drugs is a scourge on our society, on people's mental health, their well-being, everything.
It has to come down to stopping people making bad personal decisions, because if you make them illegal, then it just props up organised crime. If you make more and more of them illegal, it props up even more. No, it's educating
the people and impacting taking these drugs is going to impact on your life.
Agree. Personal decisions, making them more resilient. I know the just say no thing is sort of like a look at, they go, oh yeah, but are people really going to listen to that? But there comes a point when you go, well, either you continue taking pills, you continue smoking, you continue whatever you're doing your entire existence, your entire childhood, then you get hooked, or you just go...
Yeah, and then they get hooked and they can't pay. So what happens then? Crime. Yeah. And they're breaking into to steal cars or woods or whatever to pay for their habit. So it's a catch-22. It goes on and on, a revolving door.
I was around drugs a lot. I used to play footy, and I was around it a lot. I never really...
See, I never saw it.
I've seen a lot.
I haven't.
And it was confronting. I was 18, and that was the culture. And I never really got involved in it because I was fearful of what would happen when I wasn't in control of myself.
I'm a special little snowflake.
So I never let it happen. But I think a lot of people feel they can control it, but then you get one bad whatever because there's no testing or anything like that type of stuff. Well, not testing, but because people are making it.
It's so funny. You can't control it, and then you get one bad whatever because there's no testing. And then they like 5 minutes ago, they were complaining that they were providing testing for pills. Like, what is it? Are we testing or are we not testing? Do you want them to test, or do you want them to get the bad ones, or do you want them to get the good ones? Are we testing or are we not testing? Like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? Like, I think he's clearly, okay, I get the feeling he's clearly pro One Nation and clearly pro Pauline Hanson, and he's trying to give her the leg up. But there is daylight. I think there's daylight between these people, and he's trying to give the impression that he's thoughtful and considered, but I just don't know if he's taking. I don't know if he's. I don't know. You'd think, okay, he's a comedian. Maybe he's well traveled. Maybe he's seen a lot of things, but there's maybe there's a next step in terms of how you view the world, and I just like. He's obviously trying to give some slight pushback, but they're not really in this. And I feel like maybe he'd gotten some of the like answers that he wasn't quite expecting, but yeah, this just it's a big slurp fest.
Someone, domestic violence, whatever, and your life's ruined.
Domestic violence, as we saw, huge spike.
I never saw the drugs in the 60s or 70s or 80s. I've never seen it. I didn't need to take drugs. My family never needed to take it. My sisters, my brothers never needed to take it. Even at school, never had it, never saw it. What the hell's changed in our society? Why do people have to rely on drugs?
People don't see the 10 years of taking those drugs. They see the first year and everything's fine. No one's, you haven't become a meth head yet. But 10 years down the track, that's when it all falls apart.
Why do they feel they have to take drugs? What is wrong with them? Where's their inner strength to say you can deny that? You don't have to take it. Yeah. You're a fool because someone else says, I'll take it, mate. It's going to make you feel good. Yeah. Nothing's going to make you feel good. Maybe for this period of time. What about the rest of the time?
Well, why do they say yes to their first cigarette or their first alcoholic beverage? Obviously, these things are much more, they're considered not as harmful. Well, cigarettes obviously very harmful, but your first drink, you might get peer pressured into that. I think it just comes down to making choices for yourself. And some people, unfortunately, will just run down that road.
Yeah, but cigarettes and alcohol is legal.
Yeah.
Drugs aren't.
Sure.
So I think that...
My God. What a childish, simplistic way to look at it. Even this guy tried to draw a line around these things as being like, well, actually, I guess because he understands that cigarettes and alcohol are drugs, and he understands that what it's about. And I think she's obviously got no idea. She's clearly admitted that she has zero exposure or experience with it, so she's got no understanding in terms of she's like, of course you don't know why people do these things because you've never tried them. If you tried them, you might have some understanding as to why people might do these things. And then this idea of you just pull yourself up by your bootstraps, you just make better decisions. There's a whole host of psychological literature on addiction and recovery, and I mean, it's not like it's a new phenomena. There's lots of reasons why people like to take drugs. The science is out there. You just have to read it.
There is a big difference there because the impact. So people need, again, I'll go back to the educational system. I would have people in classrooms talking to these kids when they're about 12 or 13 or 14, and you'd actually put it up on the screen. You want to take this? This is what's going to happen to you.
Well, they do that.
Oh, how often do they do it?
I remember back to health class. We were looking at this young lady who passed away from an ecstasy.
So he's obviously challenging. Now, my approach, I would take a slightly different approach. I would legalize recreational drugs. I would even also legalize all pharmaceutical drugs. You should be able to buy whatever drugs and put them in your body that you want. But obviously, if you're buying pharmaceutical drugs that aren't prescribed by a doctor, the prices should be wildly insane. But, well, not necessarily wildly insane. They shouldn't necessarily be. But, yeah, fuck it. If you want to put some shit in your body, go for it. And then we have, like she says, we have education at a young age, and as a society around, yes, these things are good. They're fun. This is how you use it. This is the best way to use it. This is a healthy way to use if you're going to use. And if you're having trouble using, let us know. Talk to your teachers. Talk to you there, and we can talk. We can provide you a drug counselor who will work with you to either help you recover from the usage or manage your usage in a more healthy manner. Right? Like, some people just have an addictive personality. Some people have a lot of trauma. Some people just have a lack of purpose in life, which is I don't know, I guess I would call it a type of trauma. Like, it's just, some people just don't know what the fuck life is, and they find it too intense, right? I get it. Shit's hard.
Pill. We looked at her entire family breaking down, crying, and I knew people.
Did that impact on you? Is that why you never took drugs?
No, that's not why. I think it's more of a decision that comes from like an inner, as you said, an inner strength.
Yeah,
I don't personal resolve, whatever that is. But I think that the alcohol side of things, even though it's legal, I think if you looked at the amount of people that die from ecstasy in comparison to die from things related to alcohol, I think alcohol would probably beat it. There's so many people abuse that to no end and for their entire lives and depend on it. I mean, I drink very rarely. I might have a couple of beers over a month period. I might have 3. Then that's probably because I've got a youngster at home and I don't want to see him. My dad never drank in front of me, and I feel like I don't really want to do that either. But yeah, it's personal resolve. Now, Pauline, you've had a massive day, so I'm going to shut up. But I want to know, if you move some things around in your political career and you were running for Prime Minister, what would you do day one? Is there a couple of things that you would do day one? That's what you'd get started.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I'd get rid of all the regulations and all the control and all the black, red, and green tape that are stopping the development of this nation. And we've got to become self-sufficient and start drilling,
Agreed.
drill, baby, drill for gas and oil. And
we covered this very early on, that if we were to produce all of our P2 reserves, our proven and probable reserves, if we were to produce it at the rate that we need to use it, we would only have enough oil and underground for 5 years.
to make sure the country runs properly, get rid of the climate change policy. I'd get rid of the climate change department and all this subsidies to multinational companies and everyone. That'll be all gone.
I mean, this is the MAGA agenda. This is what happens when she goes to Mar-a-Lago and she gets the download update from the fucking ghouls that hang out in Mar-a-Lago. Gina Reinhardt, Elon Musk just pump her full of toxic sludge, and she brings back this stupid talking points of drill baby drill, the kill climate stuff. Like this is potentially also it's just like also anti-Western. So someone's pumping her full of this sludge that she doesn't actually understand, and she brings it back because it's that talking point rattling off this. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to do this is like the MAGA side of Australian politics, and they absolutely would own up to it, and they would I bet she's actually said that. Yes, she wants to make Australia great again. I guarantee you she said that.
Our policies would not be built around climate change, net zero, or the Paris Agreement. Get out of that. Once you get out of that, you will address and get the coal-fired power stations going, to deliver cheap power to people out there, give people incentives to go and start up industries, manufacturing, create those jobs out there. So there are a lot of things. I think the immigration needs to be cut right back. I've got 130,000 a year. All these foreign students flooding in the country who just use. Keeping in mind,
I don't know. What does she mean by immigration? Obviously, that's very, you got to ask her what she means. If that's total entries, that's fucking stupid, because we still need tourists. Is that permanent residency visas? Well, then the government's already dropped that to like 185 anyway, 185,000. So it's not too dissimilar. Like, I don't know. They need to provide some clarity there. I think I've probably read about this on stream, but what their policy is. But like, I feel like it was still unclear.
Using a backdoor to get into the country, that would be overseen. Once they finish their degrees out of the country, you want to apply here, you apply for your country to migrate here.
I went to America to do some work, some shows, and to get a visa to work in America is the most expensive, ridiculous process that I've ever been a part of.
I had to go through it to get a visa to go to America at the end of last year. My God.
I had to prove that I'm an alien of extraordinary ability.
What the fuck does she have to do? She didn't have to do shit, I bet. It's probably the fucking government.
It's madness.
It is, and I thought, wow, this is what we've got to have in this country.
Absolutely.
I'm all for that. I take my hat off to America. You're really protecting your borders.
Yeah, let's look after this country first.
Yeah.
Pauline, Hanson, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me on.
Oh my God, thank God that's fucking finally over. Jesus Christ. Whew. Sloppulism 101. That's what that was. So Like I'd honestly never heard of this Isaac Butterfield before I started trying to do some streaming. But he's obviously got a lot of subscribers. He's getting a lot of, well, relative to Australia, he's getting a lot of views on his stuff. So I don't know which countries. It'd be interesting to see what his metrics are. Like which country is watching him? Is it Australians? Because that's kind of shit. Like there's a lot of people who are watching this and probably feel the same way, right? So, and it's all the same. It's all the same sloppy list American talking point stuff. Like this guy's very much plugged into the American culture and understanding how he's trying to make it this sort of stuff apply to Australia. So there's the big brothers watching you. The Muslims in England or stuff like that. I don't know this Caleb Hammer thing, right? Caleb Hammer, Carl Stefanovic, and Tommy Robinson. So he's probably in favor of that, and he'd probably call it, but it's about free speech. Grooming gang report, of course, cancelled again. ? So trans activists. Okay, yeah, he's anti-trans. White lives don't matter, right? Like it's all this very native. I need more words for describing these people, this stuff, what this is. So maybe that's what I need. I need to flesh out my political vocabulary. I'm still very undereducated in terms of the whole political environment, political vocabulary. So we will be doing more of that. Because whatever this algorithm is, it's this guy that's showing up on this purple pingers guy is putting up a whole bunch of his shit on Reddit at the moment, or maybe it's just my algorithm. But whatever this direction that this guy's trying to take our country in is, I am not for it. It leads to MAGA, right? It leads to Trumpian style politicians and politics. And so we have to band together to fill the social environment with different messages and make people aware of the facts and what's going on and what we are. Yeah, and compassion, right? Cool. I don't know what else to do. It's time for me to bugger off and knock off and clock out. See you next week.